Hi, there we go. I apologize. More technical difficulties. My microphone had cut off. I'm going to repeat myself now because I think you were all just staring at my moving lips without any context for what I was saying. So welcome to Take 6. I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. We are now beyond our technical difficulties. We had some yesterday as well that prevented us from streaming, and I do apologize for that, but we're back and we're rested and we're ready to go here on your Friday. As I was just saying before I realized that my microphone was not working, we have a lot going on today. We're going to be looking at a free clinic that is going to be helping people get dental care out in Daytona Beach. We've already seen long lines for that this weekend, but there's another day of that happening tomorrow, so we'll have all the details on that coming up in just a few minutes. We're also going to be looking at a new report that shows that the U.S. has slipped in its happiness compared to other countries from around the world, so we'll have to take a deep dive into that happiness report coming up in just a few minutes. And of course, we'll be looking at the fire danger here in Central Florida. It has been very dry and windy, which has been causing a lot of fire concern, and not just here in Central Florida, but all across the state. A major fire is burning in South Florida right now. We'll have more on that coming up in a few minutes, along with your weekend forecast. But first, we are looking ahead to the start of early voting in a special election for U.S. District 6 that covers at least 4 counties here in Central Florida. That is the seat that was vacated by Representative Mike Waltz, who is now serving in the Trump administration. News 6's Angie Casada has more on the early voting starting tomorrow.
Yeah, Lake County is just 1 out of 4 counties that's going to be taking part in this special election. We were actually in Volusia County yesterday where the canvassing board met to certified ballots like this one. This is a sample ballot right here. We spoke with Supervisor of Elections Lisa Lewis, who gave us a full breakdown on what voters need to know.
With just 2 weeks until Florida's special election in Congressional District 6, supervisors of elections are finalizing preparations and reminding voters to be prepared.
Really to find out if they do live in Congressional District 6. In Volusia County, we have 2 congressional districts that represent us, 6 and 7, so it's only for 6, which is the northern half of the county. And if they go to our website, we have right here, it says, do I live in Congressional District 6?
Okay.
Learn more, you can click on it. It pulls up an interactive map. You can put in your address and find out exactly where you go to vote and if you are eligible to vote in this election.
Real easy.
Very easy.
Voters in Volusia, Flagler, Lake, and Marion counties will decide who replaces Mike Waltz, who left Congress to serve as President Donald Trump's national security advisor. This is one of 2 vacant seats in Florida's 28-member House delegation. State Senator Randy Fine won the Republican primary, while educator Josh Wheels secured the Democratic nomination. The winner will head to Washington after the April 1st election. Supervisors are also watching potential changes to state voting laws, including a proposal to require audits of all election results.
Actually, Volusia County is a little ahead of the game. We have been utilizing clear ballot audit system for 4 years. So it's 2 election cycles, 22 and 24, where we audit 100% of our election results.
Again, early voting kicks off tomorrow, this Saturday at 8 in the morning until 5 in the afternoon in Volusia. We heard here in Lake County it's going to be from 10 o'clock to 6 o'clock. And again, those supervisors are encouraging folks to come out early so you can avoid those long lines. Reporting in Lake County, Angie Casada, getting results, News 6.
Thank you, Angie. And as I mentioned, there is a free event going on this weekend in Daytona Beach to help people get dental care that they need. This is the 10th annual Florida Mission of Mercy event at Mainland High School. This is some video from earlier this morning. You can see there were long lines just stretching down the block for people eager to get that free dental care. The event that is lasting through tomorrow is set to help an estimated 2,000 patients get comprehensive dental care at no cost. This includes cleanings, fillings, root canals, and even extractions. This is a first come, first serve event, and the slots were all filled for today. So if you missed out today, you can try again tomorrow. The gates will open at 5:30 in the morning, and again, this is going to be first come, first serve. So it would be in your best interest to get there early if this is care that you need. Again, this is going to be at Mainland High School in Daytona Beach tomorrow, starting at 5:30 in the morning. Just about 20 minutes ago, President Donald Trump wrapped up a press briefing with Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, talking about the next generation of fighter jets that the Department of Defense is investing in. This also comes after the Department of Defense held a meeting with the head of DOGE, Elon Musk. CBS News' Natalie Brand has more on that meeting and everything else that's happening with the Trump administration today.
President Trump and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth announced plans Friday to build next-generation fighter jets.
In terms of all of the attributes of a fighter jet, there's never been anything even close to it, from speed to maneuverability to what it can have to payload.
It comes shortly after advisor Elon Musk visited the Pentagon for what Secretary Hegseth called an informal meeting about efficiency and innovation.
President Trump, along with Musk and Secretary Hegseth, all deny a report by the New York Times that the Pentagon set up a briefing for Musk on plans for potential war with China.
In a social media post this morning, President Trump called the report false and said Musk is not being briefed on anything China. In the latest court ruling against the administration, a federal judge has blocked DOGE's access to Social Security systems containing Americans' personal information, calling it essentially a fishing expedition. Meanwhile, teachers' unions are vowing to fight the president's new executive order to dismantle the Department of Education.
The Department of Education was established in 1980. We've spent almost $3 trillion since that time trying different programs through both administrations, and it hasn't worked.
The president says student loans, Pell Grants, and funding for children with special needs or from low-income families will be fully preserved but redistributed to other agencies and departments. Natalie Brand, CBS News, the White House.
Now, News 6 reporter Laverne McGee was out yesterday trying to determine what, if any, effect these cuts could have for us here in Central Florida. You can find her story right now on clickorlando.com. Find out how this might affect your kids and their school districts. We're going to take a quick break. That'll be coming coming up in about 2 minutes. We're going to be taking a look at that new report that shows the U.S. is slipping in its happiness compared to other countries in the world. That'll be coming up right on the other side of the break, and then we'll also be looking at the fire danger that's out there. It has been dry and windy, which is always cause for concern for wildfires here in the state of Florida and elsewhere. So we'll have that along with your weekend forecast coming up in just about 2 minutes. Welcome back to Take 6. The time now is 12:41. I'm streaming executive producer Thomas Mates, filling in for Julie Broughton. She has the day off, but she should return next week. Thank you so much for joining us. Right now, we're going to take a look at a new report that is showing that the United States, our happiness here seems to be slipping a little bit compared to other countries around the world. CBS News' Ian Lee has more on that story.
If you're happy and you know it, you probably live in Finland.
It's clean and the air is fresh, and yeah, what's there not to love?
For the 8th year in a row, the Nordic nation took the top spot in the annual rankings of the world's happiest countries.
People trust each other in Finland.
The Oxford University-led study looked at social support, income, health, freedom, generosity, and lack of corruption. Researchers measured trust in strangers by deliberately ditching wallets and tracking how many were handed in.
It turns out wallets are returned twice as often as people think, or more.
Last year, researchers asked folks in 143 countries to rank their happiness from 0 to 10 and discovered some sad news for the U.S. America dropped to 24th place, its lowest level since the report was launched in 2012.
We picked this up in the negative emotions around anxiety, worry, stress. Around the world, the degree that people worry has increased extraordinarily.
A big factor for America's decline is loneliness, with about 1 in 4 people eating by themselves. Researchers found frequently sharing meals was strongly linked to well-being around the globe.
I mean, 1 gin and tonic in the evening and I'm happy. 2, my happiness is complete.
Oh, there you go. Breaking bread with family and friends and colleagues, it just boosts that inner happiness.
Cheers, everybody.
Showing the secret to happiness may be found in one another. Ian Lee, CBS News, London.
That is an interesting story. I know I certainly appreciate enjoying a good meal with friends. As we've mentioned several times, it is dry out there right now. There's been very little rain, and we're not expecting any to be hitting our area anytime soon. This is causing concern for brush fires, especially with high winds out there. And there are fires already burning all across Central Florida and across the state of Florida, including a major one in South Florida.
A fast-moving fire has consumed tens of thousands of acres in South Miami-Dade for more than a week, disrupting life in the region. For several hours Thursday, officials shut down an 18-mile stretch of U.S. Route 1 in both directions, the crucial artery in and out of the Florida Keys, experiencing at times nightmarish traffic.
So how long were you stuck in traffic?
I think around 1 hour. I'm beyond frustrated. I'm hurting.
The closures forced Robert Finley to ditch the drive and book a flight to see his hospitalized son in Key West.
What's going through your mind right now, trying just to get to him?
Just to get to my baby.
Busy fire crews are hoping for favorable weather conditions. CBS News Miami's Ivan Cabrera.
We need some rainfall here. We are under a severe drought. In fact, most of South Florida under a drought now, and we have no rain in the forecast over the next several days. National Weather Service has already issued a fire weather watch for those gusty winds in the afternoon and for very low relative humidity.
Those winds will also help clear out unhealthy air that prompted some residents to leave town.
You see that smoke like that, and with everything that happened in California, you don't want to get stuck.
US 1 here has reopened, but officials warn that could change at any minute. All of this is happening on one of the biggest spring break weekends, and there's a NASCAR event happening in nearby Homestead. We are under a brush fire alert from down here in South Miami-Dade County all the way up to Palm Beach. Cristian Benavides, CBS News, Florida City.
Now, if you live in a more rural area or a wooded area here in Central Florida, there are things you can do to protect your home. We've posted an interview on clickorlando.com where we spoke with a wildfire mitigation specialist with the State Forestry Service. He has some tips on how to make your home more defensible against wildfires, including clearing out brush and watering lawns appropriately. You can find that right now on the homepage of clickorlando.com. Additionally, we are talking with Central Florida fire officials today, seeing what they're doing to mitigate any potential fire risk here in Central Florida. for us, and we'll have that story coming up today on News 6 at 4. Of course, all this is tied back to the weather. We are expecting another dry weekend ahead, but with some pleasant temperatures. All the same, you're going to want to be careful if you're, doing anything with fire outdoors or smoking or anything like that that could spark a fire. But for more on what we can expect this weekend, let's turn it over to News 6 meteorologist Michelle Morgan.
Happy Friday. I'm News 6 meteorologist Michelle Morgan. Thank you so much for heading over to clickorlando.com and our Pinpoint Weather app. Have a really nice forecast for you today and also heading into the weekend. As we take a look at the setup here, you're looking at the water vapor imagery. Our cold front moved through the area yesterday. You could see we're still dealing with a ton of dry air across central Florida. Area of high pressure continuing to slide to the east will eventually head our way this weekend, keeping things generally quiet as we go through the next several days. We have a red flag warning that will go into effect in a few hours here for parts of Orange, Osceola, and Brevard counties. So things to avoid today: don't have any open fires, properly discard cigarettes, and keep your vehicles off dry grass. We also have a few marine alerts here. High rip current risk along our Atlantic beaches through the morning into the evening hours, where winds out of the northwest between 10 to 20 miles per hour will continue. So if you are planning a beach day, just be careful. And there's also a small craft advisory here through the morning where the surf is 4 to 7 feet. So just make sure you're using caution. As we take a look at the wind gusts right now, we're still dealing with northwesterly wind gusts between 20 to 30 miles per hour across the state. That will continue through most of the morning. Dew point temperatures are below 40 degrees in many locations. So that just indicates we are dealing with a very dry air mass across central Florida. The latest drought monitor here, most of central Florida is moderately dry here in the 10. But as you can see here, parts of Lake and Sumter counties, we are still in a severe drought. So the vegetation very dry. That's why you need to be very careful with fires. Just don't do it today. Now, your hourly forecast through the morning, we'll see abundant sunshine, staying breezy and also chilly in the 50s, and then eventually getting into the lower 70s in Orlando, Kissimmee, Claremont, upper 60s in Sanford and DeLand, and lower 60s in New Smyrna Beach, middle 60s out in Melbourne. Clouds and rain forecast looking fantastic as we go about our morning and also the afternoon hours. Not a drop of rain on site. And look at this, area of high pressure continuing to move in just in time for the weekend, and things will warm up nicely. Now here's a look at your 7-day forecast. A high of 71 tonight. Will be another chilly night where overnight temperatures falling into the 40s. But look at that, on Saturday we rebound nicely into the upper 70s, lower 80s on Sunday. Few isolated showers possible on Monday with a high of 86.
Looks like a gorgeous weekend on tap for us here, but again, be careful if you're going to be handling fire outdoors, doing any sort of, bonfires with friends, or, even if you're just a smoker, as I used to be careful with those cigarette butts. It can cause big problems for a lot of people. That'll do it for us here on Take 6. Thank you so much for joining us. We're going to be back on News 6 at 4. That'll be streaming because we are airing March Madness basketball this afternoon. But we will be streaming still here on News 6 Plus and on clickorlando.com and our News 6 YouTube page. So be sure to join us on one of those platforms. Check us out. That'll be coming up on News 6 at 4. We'll have all your weather and headlines for the day. Thank you so much for joining us. Have a pleasant day.